You're watching the Battered Herons Network.
Since 96, MLS has been the youngest soccer league. From 10 teams to 30, playoffs to parity. Battered MLS bring local guests to cover games. Analysis firsthand, not Google like other lames. Stats and recaps cover the West and East. Can't forget, we're on Sean Johnson, watch every week. DPs for the elite, 10 gam get you the vets. Playoff trees as American as it gets. It's time to turn off the world, grab a drink and let's go. We're Battered MLS fans, so lock in on the show. Battered MLS fans, so lock in on the show.
No question about it. I am ready to get hurt again.
Welcome, everybody, to episode number 68 of the Battered MLS Fans Podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Granada, and alongside me, I have two special guests. I have Nicholas from the Scuttlebutt podcast from the Sounders. I have Edgar from News Across the Galaxy, a.k.a. Nags. And we're going to start talking Seattle, LA Galaxy first because we have a big weekend, or a big Wednesday, not weekend, of League Cup matchups coming up. So let me start here with Nick. Welcome to the show, man. How are you doing?
Doing really great. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to chatting some MLS with fellow sickos.
I really like those two little stars you got above that badge.
You know, it'll come with time. It'll come with time. Your day will come one day.
All right, and I mean, you can't even fit yours above your badge, Edgar. How's it going on over there in Galaxy Land?
Man, we have stars flying around our head right now from this season. It's like somebody went bonk, like little Looney Tunes, and there's like stars everywhere. That's what it feels like this season.
Yeah. But you got 6 stars, so you're good.
Yeah, but I will say this, and Nicholas can, or Nick, can I call you Nick?
Yeah, go right ahead, Edgar.
Okay, yeah, Nick will agree. Having that number one on the little Champions Cup patch feels good, but man, would it be great to add a second one, right? At number 2. And I feel like this next matchup against Seattle, I don't care about Leagues Cup. I've told you this many times, Danny, but getting that pass to the Champions Cup, I think to me that I would be satisfied with that, just that.
Well, and you know what? You got a chance at it. But if you win this game on Wednesday, you're locked into that. If you lose, you still got to win one more game for that. But before we get into that, I wanted to get into Sounders and Galaxy. So let me start with Nick. Sounders, up and down season, I feel. Champions Cup, I was one of the ones that left you for dead. I thought you guys didn't obviously make it out of the group stage, but I thought that you guys would get embarrassed because you were in the group of death. You guys made a respectable run, although it was at home. And then Leagues Cup, you thrashed Cruz Azul, which was
enjoyable.
Ridiculous.
Let's call it what it was.
That was by far and away the craziest result of the tournament. Tell me a little about the Sounders. I mean, Jordan Morrison went down early in the season. I forgot who somebody else that you
Paul Arriola.
Paul Arriola, thank you.
Paulo. Yeah.
So you guys had some injuries, but you guys have put it together. I call you guys the Pittsburgh Steelers of the MLS. Tell me about the Sounders and how you guys got here, because I didn't expect it.
Yeah, I mean, right from the start, it's based on the roster makeup. This is a deep, deep team. This is the deepest team I've ever seen in MLS history. And I don't say that lightly. We've been getting results with our 6th choice center back at times. Alex Roldan, normally our right back, deputized as a center back, a position he's never played before, getting shutouts in this run. We've got, unfortunately, we're so deep, which is great. But unfortunately, we've only really been getting, one and a half of our DPs on the field at any given time. Pedro de la Vega has been on and off with, he's not been getting 90 minutes every game consistently throughout the season, but when he's on, he is a elite game changer. Albert Rosnek has just proven to be exactly the kind of production you want out of a DP, no matter what team you're on. It's not flashy, but it's damn efficient. It's been definitely getting some nods as a potential dark horse MVP candidate. The big thing I think with the Sounders, though, is that depth. You saw it on display last night against Sporting Kansas City, 5-2, with a whole bunch of youngsters. Cody Baker got his first start in a year. Had a great game. You had Danny Leyva, came to the Sounders as a 15-year-old, had 3 assists and drew a penalty. So that's really the secret to the sauce right there, is you've got a core group that's been with the club for many years. Yeimar Gomez Andrade just played his 200th game yesterday. Christian Roldan played his 300th game with the club last week, and that's kind of the secret. Stephen Fry's, I think, 5th all time in MLS minutes. You just have so many players who are just a core part of the group that everyone just buys into it, and it's kind of led by Brian Schmetzer, who just unassumingly gets results. That's just what
Mazovsky. How? Yeah, we had to bring that up. Important to your team, but decided to start chest bumping referees. What's going on with Mazovsky? Did they try to appeal that? I mean, even though they would lose the appeal. Yeah, you would lose the appeal.
There's no appeal. It's I mean, if you watch the post-game press conference last night, Schmetzer made it very clear. No, he's still in the doghouse, even with the hat trick last night, which is great. But just a moment of weakness. The one thing about CONCACAF,
I'm sorry, Nick. I don't want to cut you off because there's some people that might not know what we're talking about. Mazovsky, their striker, last game you were playing against. Oh my God, was it Puebla? It was against Puebla. And he got a yellow card in the 82nd, 83rd minute, really late in the game. And he decided after getting the yellow to kind of go chest to chest with the ref, which kind of pulled out the immediate red. So a big part of the Seattle Sounders will be. He will be missing. Also, he would miss the final if you guys were to make it to the final.
Or the third place game. We're in both games one way or another.
Gotcha. Right. Okay.
So that puts us to our third choice striker, because Jordan Morris is out. Danny Musovsky, who's been on fire, 15 goals, all competitions. Who saw that coming? Not many people. And so unfortunately, now we're going to see Osase de Rosario, son of league legend Dwayne de Rosario of Toronto MLS MVP fame. He's going to probably get the start, because I don't see them starting Jesus Ferreira up as the striker. He'll probably sit underneath. Exactly. I think that's where he'll probably sit. But is Osase 90 minutes fit? I don't know. He's only got a handful of games under his belt with the Sounders. But that kind of goes to what you were saying with Leagues Cup, and the big challenge is the officiating in this tournament is always interesting with CONCACAF, because when you get outside of the top 3 nations, Canada, US, Mexico, you run into inconsistency in refs because they just don't have the experience to play or to ref games with high talent. And we're seeing that play out. How many red cards has there been in this tournament? It has been insane.
That's fair. I hadn't even taken that into consideration. I just remember there were being a lot of complaints from Miami fans because there was a game between Miami and was it Necaxa they were playing? But it was an entire Mexican crew, which they thought it was kind of weird.
I'd rather have that. I really would rather have that. I want consistent reffing. It's when players don't know the lines. And Danny, when he bumped the ref, unforgivable. You're gonna get a game. You're gonna get a bonus. But I can understand the frustration, and I'd rather have consistency there. And I'm not one to crap on the refs. But it's just kind of one of those things people don't think about is the consistency.
Yeah. And then before I go to Edgar, real quick, so Sounders fans as a whole, are you looking at this like we could win a trophy, or are you looking at it? I'm just looking for the CONCACAF Champions bid.
Me personally, I'm a sicko, so I want CCC. It'll always be Champions League to me. But I want to get in. I want to go. I've traveled many times to other countries for Champions League, and it's just one of those experiences for everyone. If you get the opportunity to go travel with your team internationally, go to Azteca, go to Universitario Olímpico, get to those games, and if you're lucky enough to advance to finals, it's an experience like no other.
So you aren't as concerned with the trophy. You just want the spot in
this trophy, as long as it exists in its current format, where we're not playing on the road
in Mexico.
Exactly. It's just a pathway to Champions League. Now, don't get me wrong. I want to win it because it's there to be won.
Right. Absolutely.
But but to me, and it's getting better. Look at the evolution of this from 8 teams to now. This is where they're landing on the right direction, where every group stage game is against interleague play. That is the way
which
to
was
go
fun.
for sure.
Absolutely. I agree. So Edgar, Galaxy. I don't think there's a lot to explain. You guys have just been dog shit awful all year. But Ricky Pooch, I know some cryptic messages on social media, had some people hoping. I don't know if there's any validity to that. And you guys have somehow, I mean, it wasn't, I guess, the toughest competition in the world in the Leagues Cup, but you made it. So I would assume, I understand that qualifying for Champions Cup is the goal, but a trophy in such a terrible season has to be a positive. How are the Galaxy fans looking at this?
It depends on like what kind of Galaxy fans you're talking about. If you're talking about like the OGs, the sickos like me, we like Nick, like we really don't care about this tournament. It's just like I see it as just a pass to the Champions Cup. To the younger fans, they're like they're still shell shocked about going from a championship season to like falling off a cliff, literally,
Yeah.
right?
Welcome to the MLS.
And so yeah, and so they're seeing this as like a way to salvage the season and have something to be proud about, or like have something to say, hey, look, we achieved this.
But I mean, it has to be cool, right? Because at the end of the season, you have what? The MLS Cup champ, you have the Supporters Shield champ, you have the CONCACAF champ, which wasn't an MLS team, and you have Leagues Cup. Like, there's only 3 teams that can claim to have won something.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't really have a lot of high regard for this tournament.
I know.
You've known
Listen,
this
I
forever,
get
Danny. I've
it.
told you
I
this.
know. And I told you the opposite. I'll take Leagues Cup over Open Cup. That's right, Nick. You could be shocked. I'll take Leagues Cup over Open Cup.
Well,
But
I love the Open Cup, and one of the things I appreciate about the Open Cup is that it's spread out over the season, so it doesn't really interfere with league
absolutely.
play.
I could agree with
But
that.
all of our teams, and you can attest this, have had to deal with stupid truncated schedules at the beginning and at the end of the season because they have to
Absolutely.
shoehorn this thing into the middle of the season. In addition to all the other stuff going on, right? Club World Cup, all these other tournaments, and the All Star Game, which didn't even register as a bleep on the radar, right? So all these things going on, and then meanwhile, Galaxy fans are like, "Dear God, what a nightmare of a season." And then we look at Leagues Cup like, well, if they happen to go in there and they do well, that's a bonus, right? That's good. Do we expect to win? Hell no way. I mean, that was the thought going in. Like, you expect to win? Hell no. But then
But
as
you
we
didn't
got
expect to beat
closer and
Pachuca,
closer,
though.
well, that's the thing. We got closer and closer to the tournament. I started doing my research and I looked. I was like, man, Club Tijuana is going through a really rough time. They're really bad. And then of course Galaxy bodied them, right? Then Cruz Azul was still, kind of like shell shocked from that
Reeling.
loss to
Yeah.
Seattle. But the Cruz Azul that we got did not look like a team that lost 7-0. They played tough. They pressed LA Galaxy to the point where Galaxy was suffocated. And Galaxy could have won that game if it wasn't for like horrible officiating. And I'll get into that a little bit later because I heard you guys talking about the officiating, and I have my 2 cents about that, and I have the stats to back it up. So, and then they played Santos. Santos is awful. They're another bad team. A lot of Galaxy fans are like, yeah, we're into the next round. And I'm like, man, you played 2 horrible teams and one that just came off like, with the worst loss probably in team history. And you guys, are all excited. And then they play Pachuca, who is, yeah, they're doing well, but I guess we caught them, on a bad day, and they really, really don't care about this tournament. And so when we were watching this game, and this was a prevailing thought, not just for me, but for the other podcasters and the fans, was like, it looked like neither team wanted to win the game. They were just like, okay, you go ahead. No, you go ahead. It's like those 2 little
I
squirrels from
don't
Looney
think
Tunes. They're like,
so.
you
I
go
don't
ahead.
think
No, you
so.
go ahead. And then finally,
Come on.
Galaxy ended up winning, and went to the next round. And then you look at who you're playing next, and you're like, God damn it, it's Seattle, right? Now, here's something that made the hair stand on the back of my head, right? On the back of my neck, I'm sorry. Because the last 4 teams are Orlando, Miami, Seattle, Galaxy, right? Who could have predicted, right, that these four teams would have ended up, in League's Cup semifinals, and then they played each other that same week in league play, and both Miami and Galaxy suffered losses where they give up 4 goals, and now they're gonna play each other again. That is some like brujeria right there, man. I don't know. That was trippy.
And using that as a perfect lead-in, you guys played 10 days ago, just like Miami and Orlando, and Seattle mollywopped you.
Yeah.
Are you expecting much of the same? Nick, I'm assuming you guys went in there, you pressed high, because that's the Galaxy's weakness, and you dominated. I'm assuming that was basically the result of the game. Are you expecting Seattle to come out with the same game strategy, and are you expecting the same result?
I don't know if I'm expecting the same result, because we all know how difficult it is to beat a team multiple times in a season in the same venue. That's the difference. So the interesting thing is Miami, Orlando, this will be the 3rd time. We've only played Galaxy twice. So I think that at least is a little bit better. We got 2 goals from Musovski in that game. Snyder Brunel, we just signed him. He just got his 2nd goal in his 2nd appearance
He's looking
yesterday.
pretty good so far.
And the club has been raving about him.
Yeah, he's looking pretty good so far.
Yeah. So I don't expect him to get many minutes at all in this game, but that was 3 of the 4 goal scorers in that game. Pedro de la Vega was on fire in that game. Paul Rothrack was on fire. They were connecting. The own goal was directly led from Pedro, coming in off the nice ball into Rothrock. I think in this game, it's going to be a challenge. What I'm curious about is if Greg Vanney flips the script a little bit, because you've noticed a couple teams, both Puebla and Minnesota, have had a lot of strength recently, just going horseshoe of death and 5 in the back, being very, very defensive and cynical. Historically, that's not Greg Vanney's style, but you're a game away from the final. You have the opportunity, the only opportunity, to get into Champions League for next year. LA, this is a huge game for them, and I fully expect them to just throw the kitchen sink. And looking at their lineup over the weekend, that seems to bear out that they were planning for that.
I agree with everything you said, and the Galaxy, I mean, just by all accounts, it feels like they should want it more. Edgar, are you seeing this game playing out like that 4-0 thropping that you guys took just a couple days ago?
I certainly hope not. I really do hope LA Galaxy has something better to offer.
You don't say.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it's really such a strange season. I was on just recently talking to you, right, about how there were some results that like shook me, right? I was like, oh my God, these guys are so bad. I didn't believe it. How bad they were until it really shakes you to your core. But the loss to Seattle was something that we expected to lose, but not to that extent. I remember at the end of the match, I was sitting near a group of Seattle fans, and we just struck up a conversation with one of them, and we were just discussing, both teams and what was going on. And then the guy said, "I really hope we don't have to play you guys in the next round of Leagues Cup, because I don't think we're going to be able to repeat the same performance." And I was like, "Well, you'd be surprised, because LA Galaxy has a penchant for disappointing their fans this season." But here we are, right? Galaxy versus Seattle. Now, I'm going to hit you with a really interesting statistic, right? LA Galaxy has only managed to defeat Seattle 3 times in the last 6 years. And all those were at home. One of them was in the playoffs. One of them was in the Open Cup. And one of them was last year in the regular season. That's it. And so Seattle also is aside from St. Louis, who's relatively new, Seattle is the only team that has a winning record against LA Galaxy overall, and doesn't have more losses than wins at Dignity Health Sports Park, which is they have 7 wins, 7 draws, 7 losses at Dignity Health Sports Park. So Seattle is a team that's definitely like people talk about the rivalry with LAFC, people talk about the rivalry with San Jose. Seattle that's the definition of a rival right there. They're like right there. It can go either way, but I think Seattle right now, like he said, like Nick said, the deepest team in MLS. They're so amazingly talented. They had 3 players missing. At some point with Jordan Morris being out, and help me out here, Nick.
Vancouver's
Paul
deep.
Ariola,
Periola,
and right now
and,
Albert
might be
Rusnak
deep.
is out.
and Rusnak was out,
I
and
don't
you
think
guys
so.
were
They're
still
good up top.
When I look at Vancouver's lineup, when I look at them, when they got Thomas Muller, I was like, where does he even fit? Like I feel like Vancouver has a deep squad. Even
But
though
they also
lost
got rid of Pedro
Vita.
Vita. Yeah,
they Pedro
that's
Vita, and I
great
forgot
out.
about that. I keep forgetting that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, no.
I'm sorry, Edgar, go
this
ahead.
is no. I don't know what I really don't know how I feel heading into this match. The optimist in me has been beaten down to a pulp this season. So it's like the tiniest little voice, like down at the bottom of my feet, like help, right? And meanwhile, the realist in me is saying, like, this looks like another loss. But then again, you have the motivation of the Champions Cup, bro, and you have the motivation of playing at home with your fans. So,
Is Seattle going to
that is
travel
one
well?
thing.
I don't know about that because won its Leagues Cup. ECS, the Emerald City supporters, typically aren't as into this as others. And they just played in 10 days ago. So anyone who's in that area may already feel like, oh, we just saw them. I was just about to ask Edgar that same question, is what do you think that attendance is going to look like? Because I know this, that in the last game, immediately, as soon as that first goal comes, Surrender Cobras were on fire, just kind of like, oh, here we go again. After the second goal, you could hear the boos, which doesn't happen often at Dignity Sports Park, especially since Chris Klein has been gone. But yeah, I just feel like if LA cannot get that first goal, it's going to be really hard for them to get their fans into the game.
Well, the fans, a large chunk of the fan base has been missing for most of the season, and that's because one of the biggest supporters group, and as far as numbers is concerned, Angel City Brigade, they're still in the middle of a protest, a boycott, because one of their members was given a ban for photographing a sign that was criticizing ICE and also
allegedly bringing the sign into using his media
allegedly.
credentials.
Now, here's the scuttlebutt is he did not bring in the sign, but he took the fall for someone else, right?
Yeah.
And so he was noble enough not to say who it was, but in the end he was affected, and so he was a member of ACB, and so they were like, you know what, you do that to one of us, and at the same time you guys never put out a statement, in which you support the Latino community that's going through this really rough time, screw you guys. And so they all the fans were gone for a while, and then little by little some of them came back. Lars came back, the Galaxians are back, Outlaws, that's the other supporter group, they're there, but they're in a silent protest. And then Angel City Brigade has largely just been absent. And so when you watch the stadium, it's not as loud as it normally is.
It won't be a huge home field advantage.
And it's a midweek game,
it is a midweek game, yeah. And school's back in session. Yeah. The stadium is located on the corner of where Cal State Dominguez Hills University is. And so I know there's like some kind of thing where if their school's in, they can't have attendance is like lessened or something like that. It's like leveled,
like capped because of a parking situation, and also that 7:45 midweek that just historically is a tough draw for people.
I think that's what I was going to tell you, because the Miami-Orlando game starts at 8:30 p.m., which is brutal, especially for people that live in Miami.
Starts have been horrible
because Miami proper isn't where they play. They play an hour north of us. So 8:30 start, an hour north, and you don't even think about getting there. To drive back home, you'd be getting home around 12:30, 1 o'clock to get. So it's I don't know who thought this up, but that wasn't a very bright idea, because it's going to reflect in the attendance.
Well, it's TV ratings. It's I guess that, but
yeah. I don't know. It's really weird, guys. Check this out, by the way, real quick. We're talking about late starts. Last week, the game against Pachuca was the latest start ever for a Galaxy game. It started at 9:15 Pacific Standard Time. Pacific Daylight Time. So that started at midnight on the East Coast. Mm-hmm. the reporters and podcasters that I know, we were joking about them taking their jammy jams and their pillows to the game, and one of them was like, he was like, I literally got home at 1:30 a.m. and I was going to bed at 2 a.m. to be up for work at 6 a.m.
Yeah. Well, that's how we do it here in the East Coast. Whenever we want to watch a West Coast game, you guys are spoiled over there.
Well, it comes with the trade-off of East Coast has no idea what's going on for us because the game starts so late that there's
absolutely
media.
Oh, look, Evander, who the hell is Evander? Like people that, like you say, MLO sickos knew who they were, but he wasn't a household name.
As someone who faces him in Cascadia multiple times, we knew exactly who Evander was.
Over here in the East Coast,
damn shame that he's gone.
That guy, I've heard he's pretty good, but like now you see it on a consistent basis. All right, so before I bring in our Orlando guys, go ahead, Edgar.
Yeah, sorry, one last thing, and this is something we can all agree on, because you brought it up early on, the officiating. Oh my God! If you follow me on Twitter, I do my ref report before every Galaxy match, and it's something I started doing like about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And it's because I would be at the stadium and I would hear people say, "Oh God, it's Marufo. Oh my God, it's Alan Chapman." And when a referee's name starts to being uttered or becoming it becomes like a household name at the stadium, then something's up. So I was like, I wonder if fans have a reason to really gripe about this guy. So I started doing my research and really digging in, not just into like how card happy the refs are, but how they do with a certain team in general. And I've come to the conclusion that there's 3 referees that absolutely loathe the LA Galaxy. And I shared one with you guys last week. And I told you guys, remember I said, Danny? I said, the only thing needs to happen is for Miami to show up and Galaxy will lose this game. Because in 21 matches, Galaxy has only ever won 3 games with this ref. And they made it 22, right? So when I started doing the Leagues Cup matches, I started looking at these refs. I was like, where are these guys coming from? Because I was watching other games and I was like, that's not a foul. That's not a penalty. That should have been a foul. What the hell is going on over here? And then you start looking at them, and there's like 3 or 4 that have a valid resume where they refereed in the Club World Cup or in the actual World Cup, or one of them actually refereed
represented
the Chinese Super League
when they're drawing those refs from that ref pool.
But then you look at the glut of them, and some of them are like have never refed outside of the Salvadorian League or the Belizean League or the Jamaican League or the Guatemalan League, and you're like, this is the first time these guys have ever refereed outside of their country, and they're used to the rough and tumble play of their leagues, and now they're in these games that actually have a sense of importance, and they're really messing up.
In some of those leagues, let's be honest, it's physicality over skill. It's not as technical of a game, so it's a different kind of a managing for sure. Now the converse of that, one thing I would like to say that Leagues Cup has done well, it's been nice to see some all-female officiating crews at certain times. And in the games I've seen with that hasn't been the problem that I've seen. It's been some of these other officiatings. But again, I haven't been watching all the games.
I don't know too much about the refs. I don't know any refs' names, to be honest with you. I don't really follow it because I hate blaming refs for games. But I will tell you that there was one female ref that I thought was doing a poor job, and everybody kept telling me that she has a husband that's also a ref. So I don't know if that tells you.
Somebody just mentioned there in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know who that is, but I remember I saw her, and that was I thought to myself, oh, this she's not doing a very good job. And I remember somebody told me that she has a husband that is similar. So again, I don't know any refs' names, and I'm not lying. I literally know no refs' names, but I do remember that she was somebody that had a husband that supposedly was also a ref.
Well, that's the next stage of your sicko, when you start going, okay, well, I know Alan Chapman's going to be physical. I know that, yeah.
The only ref I remember ever remembering their name is Ed Hockley in the NFL, just because he had like really big biceps. Yeah. So you would just like to see him safety, so.
I used to officiate high school, multiple sports, baseball, hockey, softball, basketball. So I do have a soft spot for refs, and I understand their job is very, very difficult. So it's why and focusing more on the frustration of the inexperience in the refs versus
Yeah.
he blew this call against us. You'll notice I haven't been criticizing specific calls against us. It's just the inexperienced part that I'd love to see a little more serious, even if you're importing refs from CONMEBOL or UEFA for this tournament.
All right. Now, with
By the
that
way,
said,
Danny, just know if you ever see John Fisher, not
Drew
John
Fisher.
Drew Fisher officiating a game, Miami's going to win automatically because 9 games and they've never lost.
But it's also going to be physical until he drives me nuts. He's one of the people that I'm not always a fan of seeing.
Let's bring in
I
John.
assume
I feel bad.
I assume that Miami's gonna win with whatever ref gets put on there. So I don't know. But without further ado, let me bring on John Rollins from Loud and Proud Podcast. What's going on, John? How are you doing, sir?
What's up, guys? Soccer Daddy, don't worry. Orlando's here being represented. I haven't let you down. Don't worry. I'm here to be hated. I'm ready. It's all good. Your favorite enemy in the house.
And let me just put that up there real quick. Before we let Edgar and Nicholas go, I did want to get the view from all three of you guys about this before I get their predictions. The fact that it ended up being 4 MLS teams in the Final Four, in my opinion, I think hinders the tournament because I think it kind of just exasperates the point that everybody says there's a huge disadvantage with us playing here in the States. And the fact that we keep ending up with MLS versus MLS in the semifinals, and they forced it to be MLS versus Liga MX all the way to the quarterfinals. And even with that, we still ended up with 4 MLS teams. And the Galaxy being one of them just shows like the crazy advantage we have. So your thoughts on the fact that we have an all MLS semifinals? And I guess I'll start with John since John just arrived.
I love the fact that we were playing the Liga MX sides. Like that's the whole point of this tournament. It's what makes it different, makes it more interesting. They fixed it, but then the Liga MX sides just really, have been failing in the end of the tournament. It happened last year, happened this year. So like until there's a bit more evenness there and we play them in their stadiums, which by the way, everyone says this like let's make that happen. It's not going to happen because that's the whole reason Liga MX wants this tournament here is to make money off the Mexican Americans, especially on the West Coast, like even more than a little bit in Florida, but definitely on the West Coast. So yeah, I mean that's really the whole thing, and it kind of sucks that it ends up where we have 4 MLS teams, but they made the prize too attractive, man. Like there's too much money, and the 3 Champions Cup spots, like for a club like us, you gotta take that seriously. And when you get through the initial game and you have a chance of going through, you got to take it seriously. And it just ends up that all these Liga MX sides apparently can't hang or just give away handballs in their own box all the time that you can get through. So
there you go.
I think they're on the right track, though. I do think they're on the right track where giving some of the Liga MX teams neutral site options. Yeah. So I think that's probably the evolution of this.
But there were no Toluca fans in Edgar Stadium. So it's like it didn't really work for them.
If it would have been a big, absolutely. But if it would have been a bigger club, it would have been.
But it's Toluca, exactly. It's Toluca. Yeah. So where's
I was gonna say I thought it was funny that Orlando and Toluca were playing, in a neutral site, right? So Toluca could have a home advantage. Why did LA Galaxy get the early start, right?
I mean, thought that's our stadium. Yeah, I predicted
let the other guys play. Let Orlando start with the 3 a.m. start. Whatever. But yeah, no, I thought that was kind of goofy.
Edgar, your thoughts real quick on? No, you got something more. Your thoughts real quick on the 4 MLS team semifinal.
I want to echo your statements. I just feel like at the beginning, I felt like this tournament was kind of an experiment, right? And a cash grab. It's always been a cash grab, but I felt it was an experiment. And one of the things that I've been saying from the very beginning, and it's a statement I heard from the very, very beginning of when this tournament, when this whole Leagues Cup stuff was being put together, and you can go as far back as the old Super League, by the way, is that there's always that chatter in the background, that noise that they want to merge Liga MX and MLS into one giant Super League that's gonna like compete with European and Asian leagues, especially Europe, right? And they were saying that this is like the litmus test to see if it could work. If Liga MX teams and MLS teams could come together in a tournament and see how they would work together. And then, of course, almost step by step, now we're hearing that, that MLS is switching to a more traditional calendar. And so it's something that might still happen down the line. I mean, obviously, it sounds like a really strange thing to talk about with Liga MX and MLS, being together in one big league. But you never know. There's a lot of stranger things have happened. So
For sure.
It's going
All
to
right,
always
so-
come down to money.
Always, but look, I think people kind of bag on the MLS for going for money, but everybody does it. Look at La Liga is going to bring Barcelona, and who was that they're playing against here? I think they're playing here in Miami. Like,
Villarreal. Is
the-
it?
Well,
yeah,
there's a
they're
really
not
good
doing that
legal
for-
challenge to that, though. There's a really interesting legal challenge that I hadn't considered, and that's the competitive fairness, because in a lot of European leagues where it is one home, one away for the shield, your when you're giving up one of your road games in a neutral site like that, and not every team is facing that, it creates an imbalance there. So I'm curious if they're going to win the legal case off of those
I doubt
merits.
it.
I doubt it
does
too.
the NFL does it all the time.
But the NFL doesn't claim their champions based off of playing
Regular
every
season.
team.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair.
So there's it.
That's fair.
In the end, the evolution of worldwide soccer,
Yeah.
we are in the midst of a change that it's been static for so long, and we're seeing so many things change. Who knows what's going to happen in the future? We might even see a CONMEBOL and CONCACAF collaboration to compete with UEFA down the road, 15, 20 years down the road.
And shout out to this San Diego Football Club fan.
that is
I
such
don't
a
know.
weird mix.
But yeah, how do you end up with the Bengals and San Diego? Shout out to you. I don't know. They created you in a lab somewhere. So yeah. All right. So prediction time for Seattle and Galaxy. I'll start off. I think the Sounders will win. They will win comfortably. I'll say a nice, simple 2-0 win. I think that it would be nice to see the Galaxy in, just because I think that it would be interesting to see a team that has had such a bad run after winning the championship come back and get something out of it. And also because I have a feeling that Seattle will somehow get a bid anyway down the line, whether it be finishing one of the top teams in the East, whereas in the Galaxy need this. And I also would love to see what the Galaxy do in the offseason to participate in the CCC next year, because I'm sure that they're going to re-up in the offseason. But I'm going to go Seattle 2-0. John, one of our teams is going to play one of these teams. Who do you think is going to win?
I want LA Galaxy to win, because I want to see
Fair.
that, MLS Cup that we never got to almost. If we had got past the Red Bulls, it would have been us going to LA,
year,
and that
right.
would have been the
Yep.
Cup final. So that would be really cool to see. And I fear Seattle, and I feel like Seattle will win probably. And I think 2-0 or something like that is right. Like, love you, Edgar, but I feel like you guys have been doing well in Leagues Cup against Mexican teams, but now you're going to come up against a top Western team, and y'all in the actual Western League have not been so hot. So I'm going to back the Sounders, and I'm feeling, that's probably what's going to happen.
And then correct me if I'm wrong. My understanding is that no matter Miami or Orlando, we're traveling for the final, because
Correct.
it goes based off of phase one.
Yeah.
And then the only thing that trumps phase one is being MLS champs, which the Galaxy are. So
Yeah, we're lowest
the
seed, Orlando.
Yeah. So regardless, the final will be played on the West Coast, which sucks, because it would have been nice to go to a game this weekend. But Nick, your prediction for this weekend's game, or this Wednesday's game, I guess.
Yeah. I think it's going to be tougher than people think. The Sounders have struggled when they haven't had a true number 9. Osaze de Rosario is showing promise, but He's not the fox in the box like Danny Musovsky. He doesn't have that speed the same way Jordan Morris does. So that's going to be the real challenge there. The Sounders, for context, since Club World Cup, they played 13 games. They've got 8 wins, 4 draws, only 1 loss. They've got 13 games. In that 13 games, 34 goals, so 2.6 goals a game in the last 13. And like 5 or 6 offside goals that have been taken off. So they have been scoring on a ridiculous clip.
Yeah.
If they can get that band of 3, your Paul Rothrock, Pedro de la Vega, because we're not going to have Albert Rusnak. So no Albert Rusnak. You don't have your 10. You don't have a 9. You're doing it with high difficulty. And I think it's going to be a lot tighter than people think because of that, because I don't know where the goals are going to come. So I'm thinking it might be a 1-1 penalties or a 2-1 Sounders win.
Okay.
It's going to be a lot tougher than people think.
Okay, that's fair. I like that. And real quick, Xavier Penny's the red card on Falcon screwed Miami out of home field advantage. Seattle was going to get there regardless because of that 7-0 thrashing of Cruz Azul. The goal differential was going to be impossible to make up. So Seattle was going to be the number 1 seed after phase 1, no matter what after that, unless they dropped the game. Edgar, your prediction.
I'm so confused, man. Especially because this last game against Colorado really confused everybody. And I bring that up because in my conversation with our buddy Matt Pollard, who covers Colorado, before the match, we were like, yeah, this looks pretty one-sided. Colorado's coming on, they're on a good round of form. LA Galaxy is putting out all their kids. Just they threw out the B team out there. What we did not expect was for the B team to come out there like really hungry and completely dominate that game. And at the end, when Galaxy did bring in the 3 DPs, I'm sorry, the 2 of the 3 DPs, and Peck, Painto, and Royce, the Galaxy attack was a little stymied at first. Royce got that really nice pass to Peck to get that third goal, but Painto right now and Peck have been so frustrated with their performance. You could see it, their body language. They will score here and there, but it's not as fluid as it was last season. They really miss having Ricky Puig there. But on top of Ricky Puig, they miss having a Mark Delgado there because very cerebral guy. When Puig was not around, Mark Delgado was a man pulling the strings, and he's not there anymore. He's at LAFC, and they love having him there. So we miss that. We don't have that. And so Galaxy is pretty one-dimensional. They attack a lot down the right side. But the one thing that Seattle did that was fantastic was that they pressed them. They pressed them, and they pressed them. Right, Nick? They pressed the hell out of Galaxy. And Galaxy cannot get out of their own third. And that led to a lot of turnovers. Galaxy they make a lot of individual errors. And so we saw that. And when that happens, teams punish us. So do I think that's going to happen again this time around? The numbers say Seattle should win. Statistically, Seattle should win. But I feel like you said, it's really hard to defeat one team that many times in a season. And I feel like Vanny's due for one of those games where he surprises Schmetzer. Because let's be honest, Nick, Vanny lives in Schmetzer's pocket, right? He owns him.
I'm going to disagree there. No, 2 things. One, like the Seattle Toronto, I went to all the MLS Cups. I went to all 3 of those. It was really fun to see. But I'm going to give you a little trivia. Did you know that in the Sounders' inaugural season in MLS 2009, Greg Vanny was the Sounders color analyst. His first season retired from MLS. He was our original color analyst. Spent a year with that before going into the coaching side. So we have a little history of Greg Vanny, strangely enough.
I knew Greg Vanny when he was a rookie. I had a press pass, and I remember meeting him as a rookie, and I never ever imagined he'd end up as a manager for the club. And what a journey, right?
Let me ask you this real quick, Edgar, real quick.
Yes, sir.
Just hearing from a Galaxy supporter, do you trade this season? Was it worth it? Was it worth it for the next star?
Everybody asks us the same question the entire season, and every guest podcaster we've had, we're like, I'll do it in a heartbeat. Why can't we do it and be like Columbus, who remains competitive? But you know what? I think that yeah, I of course I would do it, right? For that 6 star, especially because when it happened so unexpectedly. Nobody
Yeah.
expected Galaxy to win, so it was a wonderful surprise. But what's happened this season outside the field, though, off the field, all the other drama and strife and everything that's affected the fan base, that I would not want, because it's that's when politics and other ugly things have filtered their way into the field, into the games, and it's affected the fans. That I do not. It's completely
Yeah, but that
unwanted,
was
and
gonna
well done.
happen, unfortunately, with or without the title. Unfortunately.
That's
So your
true.
prediction for this game?
Sorry. Yeah. I'll man.
He doesn't want to say it.
You know what? The optimist in me, which is very very little, I'll say it ends up 2-2, and they
Okay.
go to penalties,
Okay.
and Galaxy squeaks one out. Oh my gosh!
I will
I
say
mean,
that.
as podcasters, one of the things that we said was hope, right? At least sometimes. I mean,
Edgar,
unless you're like, like what,
what's this? Is Ricky Pierce
DC
gonna like
podcaster?
arrive again? Is he gonna be alive for League's Cup, or is that just like
That's,
a big
you know
fake?
what? They've been hinting at that for so long.
Now
And
we would have known by now.
when we first heard that, he was going to be coming back, way back in January, we heard it was going to be late July, then we heard August, and then we heard late August. And right now we're in that window when he should be back. He's already training. He's already running around with his teammates. So he should be back. If he shows up on Wednesday, that's going to be insane, because who was the team that put him out? El Seattle.
I
And
mean,
What's the conference finals?
yep.
Huh? Well,
So that's it.
Edgar, much appreciated. Nicholas, also Edgar. Let everybody know where they can find you.
Yes, gentlemen, you can find me here at Edgar Nags, Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, and our podcast, News Across the Galaxy, Nag News, on Twitter, Instagram as well, and also we're on YouTube. Nick.
yeah, you can find me at the Sounders Scuttlebutt podcast. Much like this, just kind of love talking soccer. Love really, just the community of soccer is something that is just very important to me. You can find me on Instagram at Cascades2C, which I'll throw into the comment. Oh, I can't throw it into the comment because So Cascades2C. I'll put that in there. But yeah, so Twitter at Nikita Banana. But yeah, so thanks so much for having me on, and love talking soccer with you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
as far as Miami, Orlando, I don't know. Just go ahead and beat each other up really bad, so that whoever wins that game, comes in limping against Seattle or Galaxy.
Oh, I guess we can end it with that just real quick before we get into just an overall prediction. Just real quick, Edgar, who do you think is going to win, Miami, Orlando?
Ooh. You know what? I'm gonna go over Orlando.
Okay.
I feel like that they're gonna want to hang that over Miami, even because Miami has a
three
lot
times in
going
one
for
year.
them right
Forget
now.
about it. Yeah, three times in
Yeah,
one year. That would be.
I think Orlando is like on a like they're gonna sell shirts about this. Like, yeah, we did it to Messi, and we're gonna go on and make some noise in the playoffs. So I'm sorry, Danny. I have Orlando
All
winning
good.
this one.
Nick.
Yeah, I mean, Orlando's been really good this year, and people aren't talking about that as much, which is really surprising. However, beating a team 3 times in a season is very, very tough. Even when LAFC had the Sounders number for a lot of the last few years, when it's that third time, that's when it becomes very, very difficult. Same, it's akin to a player taking multiple penalties in a game. It's just really, really tough. The odds go down. So I do see Miami squeaking this one out. But unfortunately, I think it's going to be that way for you Orlando fans.
That sounds
Much
good.
love to all the Miami fans that hate me.
Well, again,
for life.
Edgar, Nick, much appreciated, and we'll keep in touch, guys.
Thank
All
you
right,
so much,
thanks so
sir.
much.
All right, John, what's going on, man? We got the third game coming up this year. Orlando, Miami. Orlando gave an ass kicking to Miami the first 2 times, 7-1 on aggregate. And the last ass kicking 4-1 was just like, 10, 11, 12 days ago? It was just recently. So how are Orlando fans and just everybody in general feeling about this game coming up on Wednesday? Because I'm assuming you have to have your chest out just a little bit because you're feeling pretty good.
I mean, you hope so. Yeah. I mean, feeling confident in this situation, of course, beating you guys twice. I feel like we were, a bit of a bogey team for you guys this year. Like, obviously last game we got smacked by Nashville. Nashville is like our bogey team. They 100% have our number,
But you
Honey
rotated
Mustard.
some of your squad, no?
Huh? Yeah, we
You
rotated
still-
our squad for sure. But like also Nashville, they did that to us in Open Cup. They knocked us out of Open Cup. So like,
okay.
I feel like every team in the East has that team you don't want to play. And I feel like we are that team for you guys this year. So as long as we can repeat those same performances, and I feel a lot of the things that helped us beat you are the same essential ingredients we're going to have anyway. Like we're going to sit in and we're going to counterattack you guys. We're going to hit you with the pace and the counter. Guys like Angulo, Pasalic try and use that, aggression on the counterattack to score goals in open play. And that seemed to hurt you guys pretty bad the last couple of times that we did that tactic. So I feel like it will be improved. Of course, Messi is the big factor and change in all of it, but he was on the field in May when we beat you down in your house. So we can do it with him or without him on the field. It's just a case of, like repeating that same performance. And like, Nick was saying, of course, it's harder to do the more you play a team, right? Has Mascherano figured out something against Oscar? Personally, I don't rate Mascherano at all. I don't think he's a very good tactical coach, and I don't think he makes the right moves in the games and the subs, and I don't think he runs your team very well at all. I think Oscar is a much better coach, so I'm hoping that the actual game plan that he puts out and the way that he manages the players and the subs we use should be enough. I don't know. I mean, we're hopeful, but you guys have got Lionel Messi, so anything can happen.
On the Miami aspect, when you brought up Mascherano may build the game plan, but he won't be in the stadium because he got that red card last week. I mean, he might be in an earpiece on a cell phone,
what I want to
possibly,
ask
right?
you. Like, what is the rule? Like, is he even allowed? Like he surely cannot sit in the same seat that he was in last time.
Well, we haven't heard any clarification on about where he will be in the stadium. I would assume, and this is just me, I have no inside information on this, but I would just assume he's going to be in the locker room. He won't be visible, I would assume, because I felt like although it was within the rules, because in that stadium, the suites, contrary to what Taylor Twillman said, which I don't know why he's spreading fake information, there are no suites by his booth. I promise you. I've been there.
Yeah.
I've walked the whole stadium.
It's not.
There are no booths. They have cute little booths for people that pay a lot of money.
He was in one of the lower, the suites that are just 10 rows up, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, it was right in the first row, but the actual suites are on ground level. So he went to the chairs. But I haven't heard anything about where he's going to be. I would assume he is going to be in the locker room, though, if he's in the stadium at all. And everybody's going to be looking out for an earpiece on whoever is taking the job of on the actual sideline. But so in-game adjustments, technically, Mascherano won't be able to mess that up because I agree with you. And a lot of the fan base, we're not huge Mascherano
so do you
fans.
rate your assistant coach to do a good job? What's his name? I forget.
I thought it was Javi Morales, but it wasn't Javi Morales that was calling the shots last game. So I don't know.
Yeah, like which one of these guys is the number 2 when he's out?
I thought it was Javi Morales. Javi Morales has more experience. He knows a lot of the younger guys. He's now spent time with the older guys. So I think that Javi Morales would be the right choice, but I'd have to wait and see who's going to be running. I don't think they've announced it yet. Maybe somebody in the chat can tell me. But as far as that first game. Now, I know you said that they did it with Messi on the pitch the first game.
Yeah.
The thing about that first game is that I felt like Miami dominated that first half. They had a lot of chances that they didn't convert, which is on them. The game changed when an Orlando player kicked the ball back to Galese. He picked it up with his hands. And then Messi and the rest of the team, for some reason, instead of paying attention to what's going on, started complaining to the ref. And Galese, being smart, Long ball to Muriel. Muriel takes it, finishes it, and then the game turns upside down after that, because a game that I felt like Miami was basically dominating the first half, they go into half down 1-0, and then Mascherano plays an extremely high line against a very fast team in Orlando. And then in the second half, you guys just start cooking. You guys should have scored 3, 4, 5 goals in the second half, because it felt like it was counter after counter after counter. And if anything, you guys didn't score enough in that second half. So I don't think that they're going to play as high of a line, because you guys have made us pay with the counter. And in that second game, when Messi didn't play, Papi Ball is defend and counter. And I think that Mascherano was kind of coming expecting that. And you guys pressed a lot that second game. And I think that might have caught Miami kind of off guard. And you guys forced us into turnovers. And you guys dominated the game that way. And I think that Mascherano got caught off guard, which is great on you guys. And I think that he also did it because he didn't respect us. Because who's going to go over the top? Like, I'm not scared about you guys beating us over the top. Allende's garbage. And Messi's not playing. Luis Suarez hasn't been consistent. So I think Papi Ball was not played that game. And I think that worked to your advantage.
Yeah,
Now,
I think it's times. Like sometimes he'll step up with the line like that, but like we will also sit in when we need to as well. And I agree. Yeah, he does.
And after you took a nice lead, you did. But to start the game,
we stepped up more. And that's time. The kind of stuff I'm talking about. Oscar being better at that kind of stuff than Mascherano. And I feel like that's where having a really good coach in MLS for a team like us has an advantage. Like, yes, you've got star players that can change the game, but also we have some star players that can change the game this year. I mean, Ojeda is in the MVP running.
Ojeda
Marco
to
Pasalic
me is the MVP right now.
Right, literally, like he is up there, competing with the best in the league. We've never really had that. Or we have at times, but we've never had 3 fully functional DPs. Even Luis Muriel has come alive and started scoring goals. Like, I know you don't believe it, but
2 or 3 weeks. And look, I was praising that move when you guys got him. But
and against you guys, he's put in 3 this year. So he does like to score against Miami. So there's something there. And like, Marco Pasalic, again, he's a weapon and he can score from a lot of places. So we do have a lot of assets. Also, some of the guys we brought in, Spicer is a new player for us that really fast, really pacey winger. So he can be a wrinkle that comes off the bench. I feel like our depth is definitely better than your depth. And I also feel like often your back line tends to fall apart after a goal or two. Like there seems to be a sort of like a lack of leadership on that back line, and it seems to break down pretty quickly. So I feel like we get a goal, we can get another one, and then it'll kind of capitulate. Like that's what's happened the last couple times when we played.
And I think it's not so much that the defense falls apart just because they, I don't know, get in their own head. I think it's more because Mascherano chases the game. He chases the game, and if we need to go, push up. And I remember that first game where he pushed up with everybody, and we just left Noah Allen by himself in the back, and Noah Allen was riding a yellow card for most of that game. So the last line of defense is Noah Allen, and he's on a yellow card, and that to me made absolutely no sense. But going into this game, I think that it's going to be a little more, how could I say? It's going to be a little more thought out, right? We're not going to expect you to press us. At least I don't think that they're going to expect us to press that high with Messi on the pitch, but they're going to know to expect that. And I think that we're also not going to be dummy enough to play at such a high line against such a speedy team, because obviously put up 7 goals on us and should have been more in that first game in that second half. I think that if we have a competent coach and he keeps evolving as a coach, which I hope, no matter how much I dislike him, he keeps to evolving, that he gets this right. And all in all, beating a team, which I think no matter how much you hate Miami, you could admit it's a good team. Beating a good team 3 times and twice in their home, it's a tall task.
It is.
And now,
You're
Orlando,
learning.
are you guys traveling well?
Like obviously not last game, no, but we rotated for this, and you guys rotated. Oh, you're about the fans. I thought you were talking about the we traveling well. Yeah, I'm going down, so I'll be down there.
Okay.
I'll come let you know. There are, I don't know exactly how many, but there are definitely ILF and Ruckus fans coming down. Of course, it's midweek, but we want to show out. It's Miami. We want to turn up and support the boys. So I'm hoping we'll have, I don't know, 100 or so. We'll have to see. we'll see what turns up
for a Wednesday. I hate that the game starts at 8:30
for a Wednesday Leagues Cup. I think that's not bad for us, really. We'll see how many, maybe a bus or two comes down.
That's good. As far as the trophy itself, is that something that Orlando cares about at all, or?
I'm, tend to be in the other camp with the other guys that, open the U.S. Open Cup is, really more important in some ways, but we're out of that. And like I said before, that Champions Cup, man, we can't, we like to be in that competition, and there's a chance here. Even, even if we do lose to you, knock on wood, we don't. But even if we do, there's that third place game that you can play for a chance to get in there. It's something that, like, I'm not super invested in personally, but obviously the organization decided that they wanted to, after the fact that we got through, make a big deal of this tournament and really try and go far. And we, went all out to beat Toluca. And then, obviously we're rotating against Nashville, so they care a lot. Same thing on the Miami side. I saw your lineup against DC. It's like, obviously it's DC, so you can do that. But, clearly a lot of rotation from both squads. Obviously it's very important. You guys won it before. Do you feel like it's really important for the Miami fans?
I don't think it's the Leagues Cup trophy itself. I think it's because the ownership and just everybody has been like, not trophy, it's trophies, and we've just come up blank in that aspect. It's like, fuck it, this is the next one, let me get that one, because at some point you need to back up the multiple, right? The multiple, the plural in trophies. So you need to back that up, and this is the only one, right? Because Supporter Shield, I don't count Supporter Shield as a trophy, but I guess technically, but Leagues Cup, it would be the only trophy left outside of MLS Cup, which is the big one, right? If you don't get this one, you don't get Supporter Shield, but you get the MLS Cup, it's a success. But yeah, right now, because it's 2 wins away, everybody just wants it just to say that they got another trophy in the cabinet. That's ultimately what it is, because we failed in that aspect so far.
Yeah, and like, it was not a good look against Nashville for us on, a 5-1 beatdown. So we obviously have put all our eggs in this basket and trying to get, something out of this tournament. So we're going to be really disappointed if that doesn't happen. But yeah, we're feeling confident coming down there, man. If there's a team that we wanted to play in this next round, it's going to be the team that we've beaten twice. I know you feel the opposite way, but I think that's just our viewpoints.
I was asking for Orlando, and I didn't think
you want this.
Yeah,
all
I
right.
wanted Orlando.
Let's see after Wednesday if you're still happy about that.
I had zero hope in you guys beating Toluca, though, because you guys are traveling all the way to the West Coast, and Toluca being the top team in Mexico.
Don't underestimate.
I had zero hope. I mean, you guys drew 0-0. It wasn't a big deal, but
yeah. But did you see Pedro Galese? Do you see what that man did?
What, the 2 saves in the PKs?
He saves it twice and then steps up and puts it in himself. Like, that's some big dog energy. Astari.
Yeah. It's funny. I remember the first time that we played you guys in Leagues Cup. Messi had just gotten here, and my friend was driving an Uber at the time in Fort Lauderdale, and he picked up Galese's brother, and he put me on speaker, and he told me, "Hey, do you know how many times Messi scored on Galese?" And I had no idea, but obviously it was going to be something funny, and it was 0. Messi had never scored. Messi scored that day, and I was hoping to talk to him again, but he didn't want to talk to me when he picked him back up to go to the airport. But I'm not a big Galese guy.
But I think some of our players, there's a lot of that, like, slight chip on their shoulder, and like you got guys like Galese and obviously Luis Muriel and guys that play with all of these guys, in the South American tournaments against a lot of your players. They know them because of that, and there's a certain amount of, like, especially for Pedro, he's like, hey, I'm going to stand up and show who I am against these big boys. So that we always have this chip on our shoulder, and that's like the underdog mentality that a lot of our players have because of who they are, but also because of who the club is. Yeah, no,
I get that, and I really don't like Galese. I can't stand that guy. I can't stand that guy.
Cool, I don't like Suarez, so it's all good.
I don't like Suarez either, so we're good on that one also. So going into Saturday, fuck, I keep saying Saturday, Wednesday.
Yeah,
going into Wednesday,
midweek.
Yeah, midweek. what do you think is the X factor? Like, what does Orlando have to do to win this game?
I think we have to be aggressive and press you and get in your faces and not let you, build up play and start having possession and dictate the way that you want to play. We need to be disruptive. We need to hit you on the counterattack. We need to be, a certain amount of just physical aggression and also, a little bit of dark arts here and there. We might need to. We got to be careful with the ref because who knows which way he's going to go and what that's going to happen. Not saying that he's going to be biased. I just feel like, refs in Leagues Cup are like CONCACAF refs. Like anything can happen.
Miami
So that's a factor. But yeah, we need to repeat what we did before, man. I think a lot of the reason we beat you twice this year was because, we closed down a lot of your midfield. Our midfield and at the West End and Cesar, they need to have a great game. Obviously if Messi plays and you've got Messi and DePaul and Busquets out there, that's a lot to deal with. I don't think, we've dealt with all three of those at once yet. So that could be a wrinkle. But yeah, I don't know. You feel like Messi is 100% going to play? Because for me, that's a massive part of, your chances improving or not, really. I give you a lot more chance if that man's on the field.
I wouldn't say 100%, but if I had to put money on it, yes or no, and you have to put money on it, I would say yes. I believe he was in training today.
You feel like he's just saving himself for certain games
absolutely,
at the moment?
Because the thing is, he should have saved himself for last week, and there was a discussion we had, and everybody was yelling at me.
Yeah, I was surprised he didn't play against Tigres if that's the case.
Right, but because he played in the LA Galaxy game, which I thought was pointless, and that's where he re-aggravated his hamstring. Yeah. So I thought it was pointless. He didn't play in the Tigres game, but absolutely, I think that he's going to play on Wednesday, and I think he's going to be the difference maker. Like, you haven't seen Messi and DePaul at the same time. A midfield of DePaul and Busquets feeding Messi is a different animal. Now, our weakness is Allende out on the right side. He is hot trash. He cannot finish for his life. He has one trick, and that's going up to the end line and then trying to figure out what to do with it and losing the ball eventually. That is the one weakness. And I think that if we eventually or we finally don't start him and we start Mr. Baltasar Rodriguez, which had that possible goal of the week for Miami last week, if we finally start him or put on Bright and put Rodrigo de Paul out wide, something, get Allende off the pitch, I think that improves our chances a lot. I don't think we're going to play a high line. I think we're going to play a little more conservative. I wish we would play like we do against Wilfred Nancy, where we kind of just give up possession and try to play the counter ourselves. And then my last question to you, how is Orlando beating the press? Do they do a good job beating the press? Because that is something that we've started doing over the last, I'd say.
You guys are pressing teams?
We are pressing teams now. And with Luis Suarez, yeah, exactly. You wouldn't expect that with Luis Suarez and Messi.
I'm sorry, what? How do you press someone when all your team is like 95 years old?
Because Allende, the guy that sucks, he's got speed, so he can press. Yeah. Velasco Segovia on the left side.
I don't like that. I mean, I don't think that's a good idea for you guys to press. Honestly, I don't think you have the defense to do that. So yeah, you can press us. That will end badly.
But can you beat the press?
100%. Yeah.
Okay. That was my
that's
question.
actually really good for us if you press us, because you open up all the space behind you and you draw out all of your defenders, and then you leave that space in behind. That's what we want. The worst thing you could do against us, in my opinion, is sit deep. If you try and like sit deep and counter us and bring all your lines back, and you leave like most of your defenders back there, and maybe Yannick Bright or something and Busquets back there, cause us put box or bodies in and around the box, that's where we have problem. We're not good at like breaking a team down intricately around the area, making those 1-2 passes to get around guys or drawing players out to make the space to finish. We like space to play into. So if you give us space to play into, we will punish you like we have the last few games if we're clinical on the counter. If not, there's no space for us to play into. It makes us, our game a lot harder. I don't think you guys will do that. But if you come out and you lose the ball with a high press, that's a giant opening for us.
And that's why I'd rather they play, because whenever we play against Columbus and Wilfred Nancy, we concede possession, we hold the low block, and we play the counter. Yeah, and we kick their ass every single time. Yeah. We kick their ass. We beat them 5-1 last time we played, and that's the strategy. Since Tata was here, that's what he does against them also. And I don't know why we wouldn't do that against a speedy team like Orlando. But recently, we've just been pressing high. So I'm kind of curious to see what Mascherano's game plan is.
I feel like last game you left your center backs on an island, And also Astari just is, a weakness in my opinion. I don't think he's good at all.
He's picked it up since the Club World Cup, but yeah, he was that first game. He was terrible.
I mean, whenever we've played him, it's been,
wait,
not
was
good,
that the game where he was? Oh, that was his first game back. That was the game where he. Yes, yes, that's right. You've seen Ustari horrible twice.
We've seen twice. Sorry, looks like
that was the game where he gave up
the start.
He gave it away to Muriel twice.
Yeah, it's been bad. So I don't know. Also, I feel Falcon. I don't rate Falcon until I feel like he gets flustered, and
slow.
Also he's a sucker for the dark arts, and they can get in his head. But that can happen to our players too. I think both sides. There's a lot of this. Baby. A lot of this Argentinian, just let me shout at you, kind of get in your ear, get in your face. Schlegel will do that to you guys. Cesar will do that. Pedro will do that.
It's gonna
be
a
lot
of
our players. Yeah, it's gonna. Remember the Leagues Cup 2023?
Yeah, I remember.
Remember the old chokehold? So it could get spicy. We'll see.
So I guess we'll end it with this prediction time. How do you see this game ending?
I mean, obviously, I'm backing the boys. I'm gonna go. I think it's like a goal fest, though. I think because we haven't been as good defensively recently, and I think you guys obviously can score goals. I think it's gonna be an open game. I'm gonna go an epic 3-2 Orlando win. Some fun for all.
I don't see us losing 3 times in 1 year to Orlando.
You just don't want it.
I don't. You just don't want it. I really can't see it. I can't see it.
We beat you twice. How do you not see it?
Because I thought that
it won't happen again. I'll blank it out.
Well, because the second game Messi wasn't playing, and then Mascherano was just completely outcoached. Nah,
a little bit denial, bro.
The first game, I thought that we had a great first half. The second half, we started chasing the game and opened ourselves up completely. I can't imagine that Mascherano would do that same game plan. If he does, then he's an idiot. And yeah,
that's where I think Mascherano is that stupid to do the same thing again.
No,
Messi is the X factor. I will 100% say that.
Messi and Rodrigo De Paul
can make the difference.
The way that Busquets and De Paul will get the ball to Messi and leave space open for others to run into, I think that's something that you haven't seen yet. And playing at home, we're a good home team. I mean, I just if it was in Orlando, then maybe I would second guess it because it's at home.
You have the home advantage. I get that.
Being at home and having Messi and Rodrigo De Paul and everybody, I'm gonna say 2-1. I think that Miami wins 2-1, and it's gonna be a fun game, nonetheless. And I'm excited for it.
I'm glad that we are. I feel like Leagues Cup is a bit more exciting. The fact that there's a lot on the line here. We're playing each other 3 times in a season. At least this one has a lot at stake. We might play each other more again in the postseason.
In the playoffs,
yeah. Hopefully. We'll see.
I would love that because I've said, I don't know if I've said it to you. I think I might have said it to you, where I didn't feel like this was a rivalry. Like I know the geographic reason why, but I didn't care. I didn't care about Orlando. I didn't.
We're your rival. You got to accept us. We're here.
Well, now, we're getting
after our ass we beat you 3 times in a row, then you'll be like, okay. Now we're rivals.
After Miami wins on Wednesday, do you still consider this a success over Miami because you won 2 out of 3? Or do you kind of say, well, we lost the important one? And
it'll depend in the postseason what happens, Okay. If we come up against you guys in the postseason and we beat you then, or if in the playoffs, you guys drop out again and we go far in the playoffs, then it's like, hey, we got you in this tournament and, there. But yeah, I mean, of course, the other 2 were important for league play and bragging rights and, Florida's purple and all that. That matters a lot to us. But this is, silverware. This is cup game. Of course, there's a lot on the line.
So on Thursday, do you look back and say, okay, we got Miami's number, or damn, they beat us when it counted?
I'd say it's probably more that they beat us when it counted. Yeah. I mean, it feels good to get those league wins over you, but that's just points on the board. This is, this is directly for a piece of silverware. So yeah, absolutely. I would say. But
how long is that drive back?
Good. That's a long drive back
on Wednesday night. Now it's gonna be.
It's gonna be long. I mean, 8:30. You were saying that actually really helps us coming from Orlando. Just got a little bit more time. to get
there.
to the stadium and
Are you
everything.
driving back right after?
No, I'm going to stay down there and then drive back the next morning and get to work here early the next day. So that'll be good. But yeah, it's only Fort Lauderdale, bro. So it's not that bad,
Oh, that's true.
It's
It's
not
because it
Miami.
was like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Two and a half. Oh, that's not too bad.
It's not too bad. But it's
2
going to be
hours is dope.
exciting. And, if there's Leagues Cup to play against anyone, I'm glad it's you guys. And it's going to add a little bit more, excitement to this thing. And maybe we'll see Lionel Messi out there, bro. Who knows? Maybe he'll grace us with his presence this time.
He will. He just doesn't like playing in Orlando.
Yeah, why is that, bro? Why does he just hate coming to explain
I think
this
it's a
to me?
coincidence. It's a coincidence.
Is it
Look, he got
just a
injured
weird
right before.
coincidence? Is it though?
Yeah, I mean,
Why
wouldn't he want?
Okay.
I mean, it literally
feels personal at this point.
It's in Torrenco Stadium. Why wouldn't
he circles
feel at
us on
home
the
there?
calendar, being like, "I'm not gonna go to Orlando." So
No, he'll play there before he's done here. I hope.
doesn't he know they'll close down Disneyland and you can just have the run of the place if he wants? He's Lionel Messi.
I think he already did that for him. Like
yeah,
the first year he was here.
again. He could do it again. Come on.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to just imagine you sulking as you drive back up to Orlando. It's going to be fun times.
It'll be a miserable trip back. Yeah, if we lose.
To be fair, you drive 2 hours north to go back to Orlando. I drive like an hour and a half back to go to Miami. So it's almost the same crap. It's ridiculous how far that stadium is from us. But next year it'll be a little different. John, please let everybody know where they could find you if they want to hear more about Orlando City.
I mean, if the other MLS people, not the Miami people, want to come find me, the Miami people, Soccer Daddy is not following me. I know that's for sure. You can find me on X, John Rollins, OCSC. I'm part of the Loud and Proud Orlando podcast team, and I'm there all the time talking Orlando City, just like these guys are talking Inter Miami on Battered.
Yeah. There was somebody else that was really disappointed that Lewis didn't come on. I guess they thought.
I know.
Lewis
I
was a little
missed Chris.
spicy.
I saw him in the chat. What's up, Chris, buddy? Good to see. I'll miss you. I'll see you soon. We'll see each other. I promise.
You're lucky Chris wasn't here because Chris is the real shit talker.
I know. I wanted to hear, but also I'm still loving the fact that he told me he was afraid of Angulo. That was like the greatest thing I've ever heard. No one's afraid of Angulo. He's all speed and no substance. He's
Chris
like
Chris has a need for speed. He's like Tom Cruise. He has a need for speed. Give him somebody that's fast and he'll fall in love.
Well, Chris, I can tell you this right now. You got to watch out for Spicer because Spicer is like Angulo speed, but like he can dribble and he can shoot. So watch out for that one.
Angulo is basically Allende on the left side.
Yeah,
that's all.
We can be miserable in our left wingers who can't finish.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you're watching this for the first time and you want more Inter Miami talk, Battered Herons, you can catch me and my co-host Chris coming on 4 to 5 times a week. We go Spanish on Monday nights in Las Garzas, and we'll be back on Battered MLS Fans later this week. So if you are listening on audio, we appreciate you listening all the way to the end. Please give us 5 stars, comment, review, all this stuff. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you for watching all the way to the end. Please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends. And as always, for those in the chat, we appreciate you hanging out with us for the last hour and 18 minutes. It went a little longer, but my guy Edgar, he likes to explain himself in detail. So shout out to Edgar. Appreciate him joining us for Galaxy. Shout out to Nick for Seattle, John, Orlando, even though we hate you in the next couple of days. And we will be back later this week. So appreciate everybody. And until the next one, have a good one.